Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. The Dharma, infinitely profound and subtle, is rarely encountered even in a million kalpas. Now we are able to hear, study, and follow it. May we fully realize the Tathagata's true meaning. Okay. Guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
Happy to be here at the Miaofa Chan Monastery and meeting all of you, most of you for the first time. Can you hear me okay from the back? Okay. Yeah. Today's our topic is Chan and the Bodhisattva Way. So we have two terms now, Chan and Bodhisattva Way. So let's first learn about Chan. What is Chan? Or it is also known as Zen. I'm sure many of you have heard of Zen. Zen meditation, Zen Buddhism. Why do we call it Chan here? It is because the word originally comes from India, called Jianhu. When Buddhism came to China, Chinese do not know how to pronounce Jianhu. So we say China. It's the best we can do. China. And Chinese like to make everything shorter, so China becomes Chan. When the Japanese, a few hundred years sometime later, came to China to learn about Buddhism, they brought Chan Buddhism back to Japan. But the Japanese do not know how to pronounce Chan. They don't have that sound in their language. So they did the best they can and they call it Zen. And it was in the last century, maybe in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, that's when some pioneer Japanese Zen teachers, Zen masters, came to the West to start teaching Zen. But actually it's Chan, or actually it is Dhyana, or Buddhist meditation. However, in China, the Buddhist meditation, which is something practiced by all schools of Buddhism, took on a unique Chinese character. Because there are certain Chinese meditation masters have developed the style and technique of teaching Buddhism toward enlightenment. And that unique style became the Chan Buddhism. So what is Chan? Well, we have a saying, Chan Buddhism or Zen Buddhism, that directly pointing to the mind of the person. 直指人心，见性成佛. Seeing your nature, seeing your original nature, you become a Buddha. So what is the Buddha? The Buddha is the awakened one. Awakened from what? Awakened from the delusions of life. Awakened from the delusions about ourselves. So we are awakened to the reality, to the truth of who we are and what life is about. So it is always something that's very relevant to our everyday life. And let's remember this. All the Buddhist teaching is very relevant to our everyday life, which means we can use it in our daily life. So what does it mean to be awakened? To know the truth. But truth of life, sounds very complicated. Yeah. Where do we start? Well, Buddha teaches start from ourselves. If you want to understand life, people, the world, you begin by understanding yourself. Now in the West, you also have that same idea, know thyself, right? But ourselves is also very complicated. Where do we start? Buddha says, start from your mind. From your mind. So directly pointing to the mind of the person. The teaching teaches how to gain insight into our mind. Now, it is not the purpose of today's talk to explain fully how to do this. You have to ask Jianhu Shifu over time to learn this. But we'll just, say a little bit about it. How to practice Chan, that's an important aspect of Buddhism. It's not just a philosophy. It is not just some nice idea or profound idea, a theory. It is something you need to practice. You need to experience to verify the teaching. To verify the teaching so that you know it is true. If I say something, whatever I say today, how do you know it's true? Why should you believe me? Well, first of all, use your own rationale, your own reasoning, your own logic to see does what Shifu says make sense, right? So you understand that to a point, it must make sense to you. Secondly, you try to see what I say, what Shifu says, what Buddha says applies to your life. Does it make a difference in your life? This Buddhist point of view, does it make a difference in your life? Does it help you live your life better? Better meaning you are happier, you have less suffering, less affliction, less anger, less greed, and you have more inner peace. So how to practice Chan, a key in the Chan practice is mindfulness. Well, actually, in every kind of Buddhist practice, the key is mindfulness. Mindfulness. So mind, it has to do with the mind. Mindfulness, it is a profound concept. There are certain qualities to the state of mindfulness. For example, being in the present. Is everybody in the present right now? If you are thinking about, oh no, I forgot to turn off my stove, or what am I going to cook tonight? If you start to worry about the deadline tomorrow, while you're sitting here, you're not in the present, right? Your mind is somewhere else. You're thinking about the future. You're worried about the past. So be in the present. You're already here. So pay attention. Try to absorb everything, right? And learn as much as you can. You can doubt, question what Shifu says. That's okay, because it has to make sense to you. But pay attention. Let's learn everything we can from this session. Being in the present. Another quality of mindfulness is objectivity. Being objective. That means I try to listen to my words and try to understand what I'm trying to convey, instead of subjectively try to see from your own past experience and maybe slant it in a different way. Sometimes we do that. For example, husband and wife, when they talk to each other, when they are emotional, they hear something and they have a subjective interpretation instead of objectively listening and trying to understand what your partner is trying to say. That is a cause of a lot of misunderstanding between couples or between a relationship. Learning to listen objectively what I'm trying to say. So I begin with, may we fully realize the true meaning of the Tathagata's true meaning. Tathagata is another name for Buddha. May we try to understand what Buddha is saying. Let me, as a Buddhist teacher, not twist the teaching in a way that is what I think it is. But let me try to convey what Buddha tried to say. That's what we try to do every generation. So objectivity. A third quality of mindfulness is calmness. If my mind is not calm, if my mind is agitated, then I tend to not be able to absorb what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing correctly. I tend to become objective, or I tend to twist the meaning. So being calm is a quality of mindfulness. So if we were to walk mindfully versus just walking, if you walk mindfully, you may walk a little bit slowly. You may become more aware of your physical body, your foot touching the ground. When you walk, you're not thinking about how soon will I arrive at my destination. You may not be thinking about how many calories I need to burn. You just be in the present. Be in the present, just taking in the sensory information as it happens. When you step on a little rock, little stone, and it hurts a little bit, you don't get upset. You just experience that pain and let it go. That's in the present, being objective. If you step on a little stone and there's a little pain, and then you say, I'm so unlucky. Am I always going to be this lucky? No, that's a subjective coloring of the experience. You are over-interpreting the experience, not being objective. So little pain, and then a few seconds later, it's back to normal. It's okay. No big deal. You continue walking, but you pay attention to the road a little more. So when you do it, then your mind is calm. So when you walk 10 minutes or 15 minutes, that becomes a different experience. It becomes a walking meditation rather than just, I have to walk. Yeah. In America, I see a lot of Americans driving to go to a grocery store. There's a big parking lot. They will drive around the parking lot 3 times to find the closest spot, right? So it's like 10 feet closer, and they go to buy the grocery. After they're done with the grocery, they pay a gym membership and go exercise. Now let's say if I turn this into a mindful exercise, I will park the furthest parking spot, right? So I leave the closest spot for other people who need it. That's compassion, right? Kindness. And then I get to walk mindfully. I get to do my mindful exercise from the parking lot to the grocery store and inside the grocery store. As I pick up the grocery, I'm mindful. I don't always pick the biggest, prettiest apple. I pick a medium-sized apple and leave the bigger, beautiful apple to somebody else who needs it. That's mindfulness, and that's kindness. That's not bad. Your quality of your life is not going to decrease because of that, but it may increase, right? So it's not always, I have to get the best. And maybe other people, we can share with others. And you do this mindfully, calmly, you're in the present, then shopping for grocery becomes a mindful exercise. So that's practicing Chan. Why is that practicing Chan? Well, it's because when your mind is in the present, when you are fully aware, when you're objective and calm, you condition your mind into a state that is more ready for awakening to the truth about who we are. There's a little jump here. Why? Is it being mindful make you condition your mind to awakening? Well, you have to ask Jianhu Shifu because there's quite a bit of things to learn there. All right. So, but at least you get some idea about how to practice Chan. What is Chan good for? It's good for enlightenment. Well, all Buddhist practice is good for enlightenment. Chan is just one style. Why do I want to become enlightened? Because then I will understand myself truthfully. When I understand myself truthfully, I will see where my suffering, my affliction, my anger, my dissatisfaction in life come from. That's the key. Everybody has dissatisfaction in their life, suffering, dukkha, that's the Indian word, Sanskrit word, dukkha. That means something is not right. There's dissatisfaction. Maybe it's your relationship with your relatives. Maybe it's a relationship with your partner, husband or wife or children. Maybe it's work. Maybe it's just society. Maybe it's the political situation. Maybe it's the world in general. Whatever you're dissatisfied with, what do I do about it? If we are awakened, if we know more about our mind, then we'll see that there's two approaches. One, blaming other people. That's one approach. Does that solve the problem? No, because you cannot control what other people do. Blame it on your coworker. Blame it on your boss. Blame it on your president. Well, that doesn't really help you. Another approach is to understand, why do I react this way? There are challenges. There are things I would like to happen, but doesn't happen this way. If I look inside myself and see the source of the dukkha, the source of the dissatisfaction, you realize blaming others doesn't help. Blaming yourself doesn't help. No, it doesn't help either. But there is a key. The key is, why do I react this way? Do I have to react this way? No, you don't. I'll give you an example. One day, somebody who is jealous of the Buddha, he came to see the Buddha, and he said, and he started yelling and scolding and blasphemy. You're just saying very nasty words to the Buddha. He said, you say you are the enlightened one. How do I know you're enlightened one? I think you're just a liar. You're a phony religious teacher. And he said, you say you are morally pure. I say you are, just arrogant and so on. So very nasty words. And Buddha doesn't even know this guy. So when somebody criticizes you, somebody says things that's not true about you, try to make you look bad, try to make you, try to destroy your reputation. How do you react? Well, how do most people react? We get emotional, right? We try to defend ourselves. We try to argue with the person. What does the Buddha do? The Buddha just sit there and listen to every single word he said, mindfully. So Buddha was in the present, objectively listening to his words, but his mind was calm. When somebody criticizes, when somebody say mean things to you, do you have to get angry? Do you have to get angry? If somebody say, you are as ugly as a pig, do you have to get angry? Most people probably do, right? But Buddha realized, no, I don't have to get angry. Just because he says I'm ugly or stupid as a pig, doesn't mean I am ugly or stupid as a pig. It doesn't even, pigs are not even ugly, and pigs are not even stupid. So just because you say something about me doesn't mean it is true. If it's not true, why should I get upset? Why should I react to it? So Buddha didn't say a word. He didn't defend himself. And he just remained silent the whole time. Now, if you try to start an argument, how many people does it take to start an argument? 2, right? You cannot start an argument with one person. I tried this. When I heard this story, I talked to a Buddhist friend of mine. I say, let's try this. I will say, you say mean things to me and I don't answer. See how long you can continue. 3 minutes. You can't go on. The other person just can't go on when the person doesn't react. So Buddha did not react. So the person become quiet after a little while. That's when the Buddha said something. He said, sir, may I ask you a question? If you were to bring a gift to give it to somebody, but the person doesn't accept the gift, what do you do with the gift? Well, that was out of the blue, right? So the person was a little bit confused. But it was a simple answer. It was a simple question. So he just answered, of course, I take the gift back myself. Do you get it? Buddha said, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. When you try to give somebody a gift, that person doesn't accept the gift, you have to take the gift back yourself. Why did the Buddha ask that question? Can somebody explain to me? Yes.
It's because he didn't accept the insults, and the insults stayed with the person who was insulting, since Buddha didn't accept them.
Exactly. Buddha did not accept the gift of insult. So that's how Buddha look at this. You talk to me, you say something about me, well, that's a gift. Thank you for the gift. But sometimes a gift is useless. Why do I need to keep a useless gift in my house? Why do I need to keep a useless gift in my mind and use it to upset myself every day? But that's what most people do, isn't it? Especially in this age of internet, and people can say all kinds of things to each other and people get really upset. And the more upset you are, the more the other side, they want a reaction. So Buddha says, I agree with you. So therefore, the gift you just showered upon me, I don't take it. You take all that insult back to yourself. And Buddha said, just like a shadow follows a person and an echo follows a sound. I made a sound and there's an echo. Echo follows the sound. The karma consequences follow you, not me. When you insult me, wrongfully. It's your karma. But if I get angry and I insult you, then I create bad karma. That would not be wise. So the key here is everything is a gift. Some gifts are useful. If your criticism to me is valid, I need to thank you. You are my teacher. If your criticism is from misunderstanding, maybe I try to explain if you're willing to listen. If you're not willing to listen, well, forget it. Right now, this is not the right time. If you are mean-hearted, you're not willing to listen to anything I say, I don't say anything. I just say, okay, in Chinese, we say, 左耳朵进右耳朵出. You're going from the left ear, you go out the right ear. That's it. And I'm back to the present moment. You're silent. Everything's fine. Do you see the wisdom in that? If you see the wisdom in this story, nobody can ever hurt you with their words. Ever. Is that right? Theoretically, in principle, right? In practice, it's hard. Why is it hard? Because we haven't practiced that way. Yeah? We haven't practiced that way. Now, let's say somebody yell at me, say mean things to me in German. I don't understand German. Oh, thank you. Would you like to translate that? See, if I don't understand, it doesn't hurt me. When I understand, it hurts me if I choose to let that gift stay in my mind. But I cannot control what you say to me. I cannot control what the world happens, what happens to me, to my life. But I can control what my reaction is. Do I react in a wise way? Or do I react in a, what Buddhism calls, unenlightened way, in an ignorant way? So we do have a lot of ignorance. We react in certain ways. We didn't know better. Now we know better. You can practice. Now, if somebody yell at you, say mean things to you, you say, wonderful. Now I can practice this teaching. It becomes a valuable experience for me, because if you understand the story in principle, you don't get to practice. Next year, Shifu comes, if I come, you are the same. Nasty words still hurt you. But between today and next year, if you get to practice 30 times, and every time you remember the story, you will find out gradually you become better. You can remain mindful, calm, objective, aware in the present, but you don't react unnecessarily. Wouldn't that be nice? Do you think you can do it? Eventually? How? Practice. So now, something interesting happens. When somebody say mean things to you, that becomes a good thing. Because you get to practice this teaching. If everybody is always so nice to you, never say any bad things to you, you don't get to practice. You don't get to grow. So bad thing can be a good thing. Yeah? That's called emptiness. The empty nature of good and bad. When we say good and bad is empty, it doesn't mean that there's no good and bad. We're saying that good and bad is relative. We're saying that depending on how you react, you can turn a bad thing into a good thing, or you can turn a good thing into a bad thing. Maybe your friend, your coworker was concerned about you and has a valid criticism of you. That's a good thing. He's a valuable friend. But you get angry and you lose a friend. So you turn a good thing into a bad thing, right? So practice is important. So now I only touched on the Chan teaching and the Chan practice. But now let's talk about what is the core, the essence of Chan practice. How long has it been? 20 minutes?
30 minutes.
Oh no. Okay. So the core of Chan practice. Everything we study, you always want to know what's the essence of that thing. What is the core? You study chemistry, a particular kind of chemistry. You study cooking. You study psychology. You study medicine. You want to know the core of that knowledge. What is the core of Chan? Well, there's not one exact way to say it, but for today's purpose, I would say the core of Chan practice is pure mind. Mind, pure mind. What is a pure mind? Pure mind is the result of mindfulness. Remember the 3 qualities of mindfulness that I talked about? What was the first quality? Being in the present, good. What's the second quality? Objectivity, good. What's the third quality? Calmness. You guys were all mindful. But that's the beginning, right? And you can go deeper and deeper. If you practice mindfulness in different things like walking, cooking, doing laundry, cleaning the floor, if you do these simple physical activities with mindfulness, then your life begin to change. It's not a chore anymore. It is a Chan practice now. And because you're doing a Chan practice, you're getting closer to enlightenment. Isn't that wonderful? That's wonderful. Fantastic. Okay. So the core of Chan is pure mind. By bringing our mind into calmness and objectivity and full awareness and being the present. Oh, a fourth thing is awareness, full awareness, mindfulness. You are aware. Now, you condition your mind into a state we call pure mind. What is the opposite of pure mind? Impure mind. What is impure mind? When you get upset, emotional, your mind's agitated, you are not happy. Or when you're too greedy, too thirsty, you want something real bad, you're willing to sacrifice other people for it. That's not a pure mind, right? When you're angry, you just want to hurt somebody, even though you may go to jail for that. That's not a pure mind. Pure mind, that's not a pure mind. Impure mind brings suffering. Pure mind brings awakening or true freedom and happiness. Now, the core of Chan is pure mind, a mind that's capable of seeing the truth. When your mind is not colored by your agitation, your fear, or your worry, or your anger, you are able to perceive the reality around you better. If you argue with your partner or a friend frequently, that means you are not treating your friend or partner with a pure mind. That means you have some subjective idea of what that person is like or how she should be. And you're not listening to what signals this person, your friend, is giving you. You're not understanding your friend or your partner. With a pure mind, objectivity, calmness, you can perceive more of what they are saying, what they are trying to express, what signals they are giving to you. You perceive more of reality. When you have a pure mind, you can understand yourself better, your own body better. So when we, for example, practice mindful walking or meditation, you maintain awareness of your body. You begin to become aware of signals your body is trying to tell you. When you, who likes ice cream? Yeah. So ice cream is a wonderful food, right? Tastes wonderful. But then if too much, no good, right? So when you say, this ice cream is good, I want 3 cups. Yeah. In Taiwan, as we growing up, you know, when you eat ice cream, it's a small cup like this. In America, you get a banana boat. 3 big scoops ice cream, syrup, chocolate sprinkles, all kinds of things. Like, so that kind of consumption is not good. Why? Because when you say ice cream is good, it's only good for your tongue. Your tongue likes it, right? What doesn't like it? Your heart, your stomach, your blood vessels, your liver. They don't like it. And they try to tell you, but we don't listen. We listen to this guy, but not this guy, not this guy. When you have full body awareness, you begin to detect these less obvious signals. You don't have to be a medical doctor. You begin to hear more of what your body is trying to tell you. When we teach meditation, we say you sit like this, keep your body straight, keep your head straight, tilt a little bit. You know, you bring your chin in. You don't sit like this. Okay, you don't sit like this. You don't sit like this. You sit like this. Why? Why do I have to sit like this? Why do I sit like this? Well, why don't you sit like this for 5 minutes? Your spine will tell you something. If you sit like this for 5 minutes and you're aware, your spine, your neck bones will tell you, I'm suffering. This head is heavy. So if you pay attention to this, you're aware of your bones and your nerves, then you may adjust. Okay, this is a little bit too much still. That's better. No, that's too much. That's good. That's perfect. This is the position when your head is, the weight is perfectly distributed to the rest of your spine. When you're aware of what's going on, then this is natural. You will naturally adjust your position to this. But if you're not aware, you look at your cell phone for half an hour, right? Your attention is on this, and you ignore what your neck is telling you. And when you work on the computer all day, your shoulder and your elbows are trying to tell you things, but you ignore them. That's not mindfulness. And over the years, you develop all kinds of physical ailments, right? So when you are aware of your body, you begin to know more of your body, what is good for it. When you're aware of your mind, with your thoughts, you become more aware of what kind of thoughts are useless, what kind of thoughts are useful. Okay, now let's talk about the second part, Bodhisattva Way. What is Bodhisattva? Bodhisattva is a Sanskrit word. Bodhi means awakened or awakening or to awaken, to enlighten, to be awake, to be enlightened. Sattva means sentient beings. That means living beings with sentience, with consciousness, with a mind. So we are sentient beings. Animals are sentient beings. They have awareness, right? Okay, so Bodhisattva is an awakened being, an enlightened being. Or it could mean Bodhisattva is somebody who tries to awaken others, try to enlighten others. So that's what advanced Buddhist masters are, they are bodhisattvas. They try to bring their wisdom, their knowledge to others so that people, everyday people, can become more awakened, can understand how to understand yourself and others, to practice, how to practice mindfulness, how to practice meditation. So that's a bodhisattva. So what is the Bodhisattva way? A Bodhisattva way is a person who is committed to the Bodhisattva ideal, which means I want to devote my life to enlighten others, to enlighten myself and others, or to enlighten myself along with others forever, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, all the way until I become a Buddha. And hopefully some of you become Buddhas with me as well. So it's not a lifetime commitment, it's a forever commitment. Oh, every lifetime I want to do this. That is a bodhisattva. And what that person does is the Bodhisattva way. So in order to accomplish the Bodhisattva way, I need to learn to enlighten myself first, right? I also will be committed to teaching. So for Miaofa Chan Monastery, this place here, Shifu does the teaching for free. It's supported by donation. You don't have to pay anything to come to learn the Dharma. But she didn't get this Dharma easily. She get this Dharma from 15 years of learning in Taiwan and learning Chinese too. That's a lot of work, right? It's day after day after day you learn this teaching. And now she brings the teaching here to you for free. Why? Because that's the Bodhisattva way. Because it is what's meaningful for Bodhisattva to bring out what we learn, what we feel, what we know is beneficial to anybody who wish to learn from us. That's the Bodhisattva way. Now that's a big commitment. That's a big commitment, right? But to us, it's worthy. It's worthy. So Tibetan Buddhism is Mahayana Buddhism. Is committed to the Bodhisattva way too. All right. So what is the Bodhisattva way good for? What is good for everybody? At least we believe that it's good for everybody, and we hope that you will agree as you learn more about Buddhism. Right? How to practice the Bodhisattva way? Well, that's another big topic, and you have to learn from over the years. But basically, there's two aspects. One is, how do I understand my mind? How do I clear away my delusions, my ignorance? How do I attain a pure mind so I can see the truth of life, the truth about myself, the truth about the mind? And when I do, I will have the wisdom to enlighten others, to help others see the truth about themselves. And when they do, they will see the source of their suffering and the source of their happiness, the source of true happiness. Now, what is true happiness? Well, that's another topic. Okay, so what is the core of Bodhisattva way? Now, the Bodhisattva way, as I say, it's, there's a lot to learn. What is the core? What is the essence? What is the starting point? Why would anybody be committed to the Bodhisattva way? Well, there could be many answers. But what I want to say today, my answer is empathy. It begins with empathy, right? Empathy. What is empathy? Well, empathy is I can relate to you. I can relate to your suffering. I can relate to your unhappiness. And I want to do something about it. I hope I can help. Yeah. So that is the basis of Bodhisattva way. Now, according to Western psychology, empathy is not something you're born with fixed. You can develop your empathy. So if you know somebody who is totally not empathetic, totally mean, don't give up hope. Maybe that person, we can find a way to develop empathy. Or maybe you feel, okay, I know empathy is a good thing, but I don't know. I don't have enough. Well, you can develop it. How do we do that? How do we develop empathy in ourselves and others? Well, the way I see it, there's two aspects. One is from social interactions, right? You interact with people and you see their condition. You see when your friend is sick, how he or she is feeling. So, oh, that is sad. You see your pet. A dog is suffering, a cat is suffering. The dog is hungry. Maybe I want to feed the dog. You see other people are suffering with refugees. What can I do? Right? So social interactions. So, but it's not just social interaction, it's mindful observation of others' condition. Sometimes we feel you're suffering and I want to help, but I don't help in the right way. Yeah. So for example, you see, I lived in California for a long time, and in California, there's a lot of homeless people. I don't know if there are homeless people here. They are, right? So one issue our disciples have is, okay, these homeless people, do I give them money or not? If I give them money, maybe they go buy alcohol or something more serious, right? But I want to help. How do I help? Well, and some people will actually take the time to bring them to a grocery store, buy grocery and pay for their grocery. At least now I know I'm giving food to him and he definitely needs food, right? So that is a way to help. I'm not saying you should or should not give money, but it's mindful consideration of others' conditions and mindful consideration of what I should do, what I can do. That's the second part of a second aspect, empathy. What can I do? So we think that there's something within all of us, inborn within all of us, that wants to help others. I think it's within all of us. Confucianism also say that. Confucianism, Mengzi is Confucius. There's a Mencius. Mencius is a few generations from Confucius, but he's considered the second greatest teacher in Confucianism. He said, 恻隐之心，人皆有之, which can be translated as everyone has empathy. Everyone is born with it. He believed that. Some people is more developed than others. In some people, they manifest more than others. So whenever you see, and your mind is calm and you see some kind of suffering around you, would you say that you kind of want to help? You want to do something about it? You feel for it? You want to do something about it? Right? That's the second part of it. All right. So now we have this empathy, and the next, what we need is action. Action. Do we take action? What kind of action? Is it skillful action? Skillful means, or unskillful means? For example, I like to make fun of Chinese parents. It's okay because I'm Chinese, right? So a lot of Chinese parents, they tell their children, well, they want the best for their children, right? Like, you got to study, you got to get good grades, right? It's the Asian stereotype. You got to get good grades, but which is not a bad thing. But the action is in the wrong way when they say, all you have to do is get good grades. You don't have to do anything else. Just focus on studying. You don't need to help mom clean the dishes. You don't need to help mom, clean the house. You don't have to help your parents. You just focus on study. Don't get a part-time job. Don't waste time on that. That's kind of a traditional Chinese thinking, which is, you turn into, and don't worry about anything. Parents will provide everything for you. All right. So you see how that can go wrong. You bring up a kid who not only knows how to study and get good grades, but ungrateful, maybe without a sense of responsibility, right? Unaware of what the parents have given to them, what the society has given to them. They may not think about, say, okay, the most important thing is to get a good job and make money for myself. It could happen that way, right? So you want what is good for your friend, your child, and others, but we gotta take action in a skillful way, and that's part of the Bodhisattva practice. Skillful means considerate, wise actions. Now, what's the opposite of Bodhisattva practice? The opposite of empathy is usually self-centeredness. When the person is very much focused on themselves, they tend to ignore what's happening around them or ignore people's needs, ignore what action he has that impact other people. Then we say, oh, this person has no empathy. This person is selfish. And you know what? The more self-centered a person is, the more unhappy that person is. You just observe. Observe the people around you. That is true. So more dukkha, more suffering. So now we have some understanding. Okay, I want to be happy. How do I be happy? If you focus on how yourself be happy, you never be happy. But if you focus on being aware of others, and you see what I can do for you within my capability, you know what? Your own affliction, your own troubles seem to go away a lot. Okay? Well, that's just touching on the aspect of Bodhisattva practice. You have to learn the rest of them from. So now, let's go back to the pure mind. Now, I talked about the core of Chan, which is pure mind, the core of Bodhisattva Way, which is empathy. Do these two cores have a relationship? Because today's topic is Chan and the Bodhisattva Way, right? So I have to somehow relate it. Of course they're related. But let's look at the pure mind a little bit. So we have a mind. Everybody has a mind. Who doesn't have a mind? We all have a mind. Who understands your mind? Nobody does 100%. So we talked about the concept of a pure mind. Do I have a pure mind? I don't know. Shifu said earlier, calmness, objectivity, and what's that now? What else? Calmness, objectivity, what else? Being the present, good. And the fourth, awareness, yes, very good. So when I have that, when I practice that, I will reach pure mind eventually. All right? But how do I know we have a pure mind? How do I know that will be true? Well, today, right now, let's examine the mind a little bit. You see a Shifu here, right? You see two Shifus or three Shifus here. So you see something. You say, oh, that's a Buddhist monk or Buddhist nun, right? That's simple experience. You see with your eyes, and you say, oh, that's a Buddhist monk speaking. So that simple experience consists of two parts. knowing and consciousness. Knowing means you perceive something through your eyes. You perceive there's an object here wearing brown robes, looking like a person, right? Ball. So you perceive this through your eyes. That's called knowing. Now, at this point, you have not formed a concept. But immediately, in less than a second, you say, oh, that's a Buddhist monk. That's a concept. That's an idea that you learned, right? If you never seen a Buddhist monk, you see this, what is this? What is this person, right? You don't know. But because you have some knowledge about Buddhism, so you say, oh, that's a Buddhist monk. That's an idea. That's part of your consciousness. That's the part of your mind we call consciousness. It consists of ideas, concepts, emotions, judgment, decision, discrimination in a good and bad way. So all of that is consciousness. Most of what we call our mind is actually consciousness. Most of us ignore a more basic function of our mind, and that is knowing, or just simple perception. We just perceive some information. Okay? So when you see something here, when you hear something, when you say, you're stupid as a pig. Oh, you're as pretty as a goddess. You hear something. First, there's knowing through your ears. You perceive through your ears, right? You perceive some sound, loud and soft, and a different intonation. You perceive that sound, but no concepts here. You're aware of that sound difference or sound sequence. And then your consciousness come into work and say, oh, he said something. That's English, not German. He said, I'm stupid as a pig. And now your consciousness continue to work. So you first perceive, there's knowing, and then your conscious go through a string of processing. If an ordinary person say, you say I'm stupid as a pig, you discrimination, you are racist, you say I'm ugly, right? I hate you. That's my conscious processing. What would be the Buddha's processing? How would the Buddha process this? You're talking to me in Hindu, right? You're saying I'm a liar, I'm a fake teacher. No, I'm not a fake teacher. Go in left ear, go out right ear. I stop processing. I don't need to process this information anymore. I let it go. I let it go. No anger. My mind's calm. Is that good? That's cool, right? Some information are useful, you process it a lot. Some information not useful, don't waste your energy on it. Consciousness is the key to our suffering. Consciousness is also the key to our enlightenment. You see? You use your mind, you process in the right way, you get in touch with reality. You go back, become fully aware of your knowing. The knowing ability everybody has. But we ignore it most of the time. We live our life in the realm of conscious post-processing. Instead of directly experience that what is happening. When you walk, did you ever feel the grass? When it drizzles, did you ever felt the light rain touching on your body? That beautiful sensation? Or is it your conscious mind take over and say, I'm gonna get wet, I need to take a shower again? You get immediately into that emotional cycle or judgment cycle. Yeah? When your unfriendly coworker is saying words to you, immediately post-processing, your conscious post-processing, subjective post-processing, you say, you're trying to criticize me again. You're always trying to find fault with me. I don't like you. Why do you always do that? Well, maybe he always did that before, but maybe this time he has something valid to say. If I stop that subjective emotional processing, maybe I can process in the right way, just understand what he's trying to say and examine objectively, calmly, being the present. Does he say anything valid? Maybe 2 out of 10 things he says valid, then he's my teacher. I'm grateful. Right? So that is how conscious mind affects us in a good or a bad way. But something we need to pay attention more is the first step, knowing. Does a dog have knowing? Yeah. Does dog have consciousness? Probably. Because, you can give a name to your dog and you call the name, he comes over, right? So he has a conscious ability. He can understand concepts. He can recognize, hey, cute puppy. and then he comes over. Maybe more limited than human beings. Right? So different animals probably most likely have different conscious abilities. But they have knowing. Does the dog's knowing different from human knowing? Knowing is something very simple and direct. It just knows. Knowing is always in the present. Knowing does judge, so it's not good or bad. It transcends good and bad duality. That knowing, the very first aspect of your mental processing, of experiencing the world. Everybody has that knowing. You must first know. Receive information before you can process it with your consciousness, right? So the knowing aspect receives information, sensory information, whatever information objectively in the present, and pass it on to consciousness. He doesn't hold on to it. He's always in the present. He doesn't hold on to past information. He just streams it. Live streaming, it's gone, it's gone. The knowing is always in the present moment. It's non-judgmental. It's non-dualistic. It is always calm. It doesn't get emotional. Emotion is something belonging to the consciousness. So the knowing has a lot of good qualities. Does a dog have the knowing? Yeah. Does a rat have knowing? Oh yeah. Does a snake? Mosquito? Chicken? Does a chicken have consciousness? Yeah. If you try to kick a chicken, does it like it? No. So no animals like to be hurt, right? So why do we love dogs and eat chicken? I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just questioning. Why do we have this different treatment? Right? So when we are more in touch with how our mind works, we see that, there's a knowing aspect. It's not two different part of your mind. It's just a functioning of your mind, but I'll try to understand in steps. There's a knowing aspect and there's a processing or consciousness aspect. The knowing, you cannot do anything about it, but you can become aware of it. We'll talk more about this in a few days on the 14th. The topic is knowing, consciousness, awareness, and mindfulness. So I'm going to relegate that to that. So when we practice Buddhism, mindfulness, we become more in touch with that knowing aspect, and we see that all sentient beings have that knowing. In that respect, everybody is equal. Does a black person have knowing? A white person, a brown person, whatever. Does a college professor have knowing? Does an illiterate person have knowing? Yeah. Man, woman, of course. We're all equal in that. We even equal in that with a cockroach. Knowing. And no cockroach want to be killed. Right? So we have that consciousness aspect. What differentiates between all of us is our conscious evolvement or conscious development. And that depends on your upbringing, the books you read, the news you perceive, and also all of that. So we have a lot of delusion in our conscious processing. When we clear that away, we become more fully aware of our knowing, and we can perceive the reality as it is. That is called enlightenment. So you already have the knowing. It's there. It's covered up by your conscious processing, your conscious misprocessing. So that's why we say everybody can become enlightened, because you already got what it takes. It's like an unpolished diamond in the rough. The sparkle is already there. We just need to remove the misunderstanding, the misprocessing of your conscious mind. So that's the pure mind. Another term for that is the pure mind. The mind that is removed, cleared away from the ignorance, from the delusion, from the misunderstanding. You say I'm stupid, that means I'm stupid. I'm angry at you. That's the misprocessing, right? So with that, the pure mind has clarity. Clarity means my mind is clear. I can see really what's going on. Objectivity, interdependence. We haven't talked about this. Our mind is always interacting with other people's mind, right? Or even other animals' mind. We interact with them. In fact, we never stop interacting. Our body is always interacting with other physical matter as well, right? Interdependence means that you impact me, I impact you. In every way. Physical way, mental way. Ever since even before you were born, you are interdependent. You're dependent on your mom. You're interacting with your mom, but your mom interacting with the world. So the world is interacting with the fetus already. Isn't that right? So as individual, how individual are we? How independent are we? That's a big question. That's another topic. So I just want to touch on that. So understand we are so intimately interdependent, not in a bad way, not dependent, codependent in a bad way. Interdependent. It means that understanding more fully the relationship of what others doing impact me and what I'm doing impact you. Karma. So right now most of us are more aware of climate change, right? We thought for maybe 200 years, 300 years, we can do whatever we want to the environment and it won't affect anything. But now we understand the interdependence of our actions, even driving, even, plastics, even whatever, they are all impacting the world. As interdependence, the more understand the interdependent relationship we have with the rest, the wiser we are, the more we are in touch with reality. So if you look at some people in the world are racist or discriminating, prejudice, it's because they don't understand interdependence. They don't understand how these people they are prejudiced against play a role in their life. How many people affect your life in a single day? How many? Give me an answer.
Countless.
Countless. You jump too fast. Yeah, so maybe 5 people in your family, but then more than that, right? So where the food come from, right? Where's the transportation come from? You take a bus. Yeah. What about the structure that support the bus? The system that keeps Germany running. But Germany doesn't run by itself. It depends on other nations, right? So when we don't understand interdependence, we have hatred, we have prejudice, we have, this is a bad country. This is a good country. We got to punish this country. We got to start a war with this country. We don't understand the interdependence. So pure mind will help us understand that. So pure mind, which is the core of Chan, naturally leads to compassion. So what Shifu is saying that if we practice Chan, our mind becomes more mindful and pure, then compassion or Bodhisattva mind is a natural consequence. Why do I say that? Well, because a pure mind begin to see the equality in all beings, right? So we are vegetarians. Why? Because I don't feel I have the right to take away life, to take it away the life of a chicken or a cow. Who says I have the right to do that? Right? So that's how we feel. We see that a cow want to live. A cow wants to breed its young, right? A cow wants to take care of its young, and a cow doesn't want to be slashed and turned into steak. That's not what the cow wants. Why do I have the right to go against his will, their will? So I begin to see what I didn't see before. Right? I begin to see that different people, even this guy who came to say nasty things to me, does he have awareness? Does he have a knowing? Does he have a mind? Yeah. Does he want to suffer? He doesn't want to suffer, but he's making me suffer, right? No, he's not making me suffer. He cannot make me suffer. I make myself suffer with my decision to take that stupid gift and keep it in my mind, right? Why do I have to take the stupid gift into my mind? No. So let's say you eat something that's spoiled and you have diarrhea. Not a good feeling, right? Why do you have that? Is diarrhea a good thing? No. Yeah, it's a good thing. Why? Because your body's way to get rid of that poison. So it doesn't feel good. But it get rid of the poison for you, right? Now, you eat something bad, your body knows how to get rid of it. You eat something bad with your mind, do you know how to get rid of it? Not everybody. Do you remember something from 10 years ago? Somebody did something nasty to you 10 years ago and say, today, oh, I hate that guy. That means 10 years ago, your mind ate something bad. And you keep it in there. You don't have a diarrhea, get rid of it. If you have bad food in your stomach for 10 years, imagine how your body's gonna suffer, right? So the Buddhist practice teach you how to get rid of the bad food in your mind, right? That bad experience is the food for the mind. And sometimes you are fed this experience. You don't always get to choose. You are fed things into your mind. You need to learn how to get rid of it. That's where the Buddhist practice helps. And so we're giving you an example of how to deal with that. The story of the Buddha and the gift, right? So now I can go a step further. With my pure mind or a mindful mind, at least, I can see that he is saying nasty things to me. He is not happy right now. He's angry. He's suffering. What can I do to help alleviate his suffering? That's what Buddha did. Buddha said, remember what Buddha said? I agree with you. If you bring a gift to somebody and that person doesn't accept it, you have to take the gift back. Buddha is trying to teach him something, right? Buddha is trying to teach him about karma. Don't do bad karma. You will suffer. But if Buddha tries to teach him, he's not going to listen, right? He's not coming here to learn from the Buddha. He's coming here to say bad things to the Buddha. So Buddha has to find a different way to teach him. What did the Buddha do? He asked a question and let him say the teaching. Do you see? Buddha said a trap about said a situation of the gift to help him realize it. But I didn't tell you the answer. You told me the answer. You say that if you bring a gift to somebody, you have to bring it back if that person doesn't want it. That is your teaching. I'm just agreeing with you. Right? So even when this guy is here to fight, to argue with the Buddha, Buddha is trying to benefit this guy. Do you see that? But it takes great skill to do that. Have you ever tried to teach your kid something and the kid doesn't like it? So you want to present the teaching in a way, in a skillful way, that your kid will say the teaching himself. See? So there's a beautiful story there. There's a lot of things we can learn from that simple story. Yeah? You say that I didn't. I'm just agreeing with you. But he helped him to see the truth, a bit of truth about hurting others. So when he goes back, maybe one day he's calm, he'll remember this. Definitely nobody reacts this way. When you say mean things to the other person, he's silent. Nobody reacts that way. So that experience will remain in his mind, and one day he'll get an insight from that. So Buddha planted a seed of wisdom in the guy who's trying to hurt the Buddha. So this is not a story from thousands of years ago. This is a story you can use every day. If you have somebody you want to help, but the person refuses your help, right? You try to think of a skillful way to present it so that he actually learns it and he thinks he got it, he said it. So seeing equality in all beings, I would not waste my energy in getting angry, not waste my energy in getting agitated. So my mind remains calm. So when the person is saying nasty things to me and my mind is totally calm and just go in and go out and I don't process it, I have time. I have space to learn more about him objectively. Then maybe I can find a way to help him. Maybe this is not the right time. I just remain silent. But at least I'm practicing mindfulness. But maybe I'm more experienced, more skillful than I can even think of a way at this moment. As he's being mean to me, I can think of a way to help this person. Or at least reduce his agitation. Yeah? So you can only do that with a pure mind, with a mindfulness. If you're not mindful, and you dance with his tunes, you can't do anything to help yourself or others, right? So when your mind is calm and clear, you have that capability, more capability to actually do something positive about the situation. So, and then you use that pure mind to see people around you, and you begin to see people are suffering unnecessarily in many cases, right? People are repeating the same mistakes, reacting in a habitual way. And because your mind is calm and you feel maybe I can do something about it, then you say, I want to learn some ways, some skillful ways to help him, to help them. You have the capability, the capacity, the time, the space in your mind to do that. Now, if you want to, then you can learn about the Bodhisattva Way. So you can start with the people around you. Yeah. A real story from many years ago, a policewoman who was attending Shifu's class, she told me a story. She said, you know, as the work of a police is very stressful. Yeah. Every incident can cost you your life. So they have a weekly meeting at their police department. And there's another policeman who's always getting on her case, always disagreeing with her. So they always argue. And every meeting ends in argument. That happened for a long time. But she attends our Zen classes and she learns about this pure mind and mental processing. So Shifu told her, or told the class, if you have somebody who disagrees with you, one way to deal with is freedom, being able to do whatever you want to do. If everybody does whatever they want to do, the world will be in chaos. Isn't that right? That's not freedom. That's chaos. Is freedom everybody living peacefully together? Well, that may never happen in the near future, right? Because you cannot control what other people do. You cannot tell what other people do. Everybody will do things, you know, according to their experience and their upbringing. So there will always be people who come and say nasty things to you or do things you don't like, right? So can you ever be happy? Can you ever be happy? Can you ever be free? Well, the Buddha is. Buddha claimed, I got freedom. I got true freedom. I got true happiness. Why? Because it's not true that nobody hates the Buddha. Somebody hates the Buddha. It's not true that nobody tried to hurt the Buddha. Somebody actually tried to assassinate the Buddha a few times. It's not true that nobody disagrees with the Buddha. So a lot of people may disagree with the Buddha, but he's still free. Why? Because when somebody tries to hurt him, he doesn't get upset. He's undisturbed. He's not disturbed. His mind stays still, calm, mindful, aware, in the present, objective. It doesn't affect him. That is true freedom. Whatever happens, your mind is not affected. It is in the present. It is calm, peaceful, aware of reality, and therefore wise, no matter what happens. That is real freedom. So you could be a Buddha, everybody respect you, or you could be a king, other people, you know, bow to you, or you could be a farmer and working really hard every day just to barely make a living, but your mind is at present peaceful, calm, and wise. Now, you may say, big deal. That doesn't sound so amazing. That's because you probably have not had a deep experience with it. So one of this poor guy, he had this lunchbox. He ate a couple bites, no meat. He threw the food on the ground. He was upset. You try to help me, but there's no meat. It's not real food. So the charity people was really frustrated. We did a lot of hard work to try to bring food to you. We thought you needed, and then you threw the food on the ground. So one of the charity workers was really frustrated. She came to Shifu and said, Shifu, what do I do in such a situation? So she tried to do the Bodhisattva practice, but she got frustrated because, it was a different result. Well, so, let's try to use the pure mind and see the situation. For one thing, maybe he's not so hungry. Well, if he's not so hungry, maybe we'll bring the vegetarian food to somebody else who appreciate it, right? It's okay. You don't have to be upset at his reaction. Somebody who can bring it to somebody else who need it. That's one possible way to deal with it. Another is to think for that person. He hates vegetarian food. Maybe I find a really good vegetarian cook and help him appreciate vegetarian food later, right? That's another possible way. So the point is, why don't you react to the way I expect? So that's compassion without the pure mind. So impure mind, I help you, I expect you to react in a certain way. Grateful, appreciative. Yeah? That's not so pure. It's still a good act, but not so pure. That's why we get upset, because my mind is not so pure. But if I have a totally pure mind, I say, okay, you don't want it? Fine, I'll bring it to other people. Other people appreciate it. You focus on this guy who didn't appreciate the food, but there are 99 others who appreciate the food. Why don't you focus on those guys? And then you're happy, you're doing something meaningful, right? So there's many different ways to look at this situation when your mind is calm and objective and mindful. Okay, so that pure mind actually helps us to practice compassion in a way that will last. Because you will face challenges, you will face unexpected reactions, you'll face, all kinds of things with a pure mind and the wisdom that comes with it. You will be able to keep it going and help more people that way. So challenges when you are kind. So one of the points in that story I just mentioned is unrealistic expectations. Do we have unrealistic expectations? Let's say you go to a store, you try to buy something. Let's say you want to buy a stereo. You want to buy a new phone, right? And then the salesperson doesn't know the latest model. He doesn't know anything. Why do you have this job? You're not a good salesman. Why do they hire you, right? We get frustrated. Why am I not getting good service? So there's a dukkha, the dissatisfaction. The dissatisfaction doesn't come from him, come from you, right? Why? Because I have this unrealistic expectation that every salesperson should be good. Is that realistic? No. How much do you get paid? How much does he get paid? Right? How many days was he on the job? See, mindful observation. Maybe he was only on the job for 3 days. He didn't have the time to learn all of that. Maybe his wife had an argument with him. He's in a bad mood. Maybe his mother is sick in the hospital. Right? That's all part of the interdependent situation. His background information, I don't know. If I can have a pure mind and calm mind, I can say, okay, a lot of things could be happening in your life. I don't know. So this is not a particularly good time. Maybe I can find another guy to help me. You remain calm in the present. You get a job done. Or maybe you go to a different store. No anger, right? And maybe you can help this guy. Maybe you can help this guy. Say, oh, you must be having a bad day. It's okay. Life's hard. Maybe that's the kind words that he needs at that moment in his life. Yeah. So pure mind helps us in doing our Bodhisattva work. Now, one last thing. What happens when you try to practice the Bodhisattva way, try to be helpful, try to contribute, but you are unable to change the situation? Well, that can happen, right? A lot of things will feel helpless. Well, remember your core value. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? I'm doing this because I would like to be helpful. So I do try. If the result is not ideal, in Buddhism, that means the cause and conditions are not together. The right conditions are not together. The right factors haven't all been met. That's okay. Let's move on. Right? That's one thing. Because you're still practicing your core value. That's what's important. You're trying to make a difference, and you feel you're not making a difference, but actually you are, even if nothing seems to change. You try to help this guy who is suicidal, right? And then he didn't feel any better after 2 hours of talk. You feel, oh, I didn't do a good job, right? You feel bad about yourself. Well, you did try to make a difference. Who knows? Maybe one of the things you said tomorrow will make a difference to him. Or maybe not this time, but next time with another person will make a difference. Butterfly effect. You know about the butterfly effect. A little bit of thing can actually go very far, have a great impact because of interdependence. So I'll end with a story. There's a American tourist who was vacationing in Mexico. So there's a beautiful Mexican coast, beach, miles and miles and miles, and it's sunset. The sun is shining golden ray on the beach, and there's sparkles all along the sand. The sparkles come from the seashells on the beach. So he was enjoying the view, walking down the beach, and he noticed that there was somebody up ahead that was acting in a kind of a peculiar way. The guy was lowering his body, picking up something from the sand and throw it into the ocean. Now, there's nothing unusual, but he keep doing that over and over and over again. So it's not the kid playing, right? He keep doing that, lowering his body, picking up something from the sand and throwing into the ocean. By the time he walked close, he saw that this guy is a Mexican native. He pick up the seashells, throw it back into the ocean. He said, "What are you doing?" The Mexican guy said, "These seashells are washed up on the shore from high tide. But when the tide retreats, they get stuck on the sand. Tomorrow morning, the sun comes, it will dry up. You will die. They will die. So I throw them back into the ocean." So the tourist said, "That's ridiculous. You won't make a difference. There, 1,000 miles, I don't know, miles and miles of coast, thousands and thousands, maybe tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of seashells washed up every day. You won't make a difference." That's sometimes how we feel, right? The Mexican guy, he just picked up a shell he continued to pick up a shell, throw it into the ocean. He said, makes difference for that guy. See? Sometimes we look at the big situation and we say, oh, I can't make a difference. But it makes difference for one guy. One person is more than enough, right? If you just make a difference with one person, and there are 9,999 other people you are unable to help yet, you don't know. Because you help this person, this helper maybe use the same thing to help 10 other people. And 10 other people help 100 other people. Before you know it, interdependence, butterfly effect. So every little bit counts. Every little bit is meaningful. Everybody can make a difference. So you will understand this because you have the pure mind. Yeah? So the world now needs both pure mind and compassion more than ever. And you can start by making a difference today.